Hello everyone, welcome back to Grow Leafy. I'm going to be putting together a seed starting mix. And many of you ask me this question. I got it last year when I started doing these videos, and I'm getting them again this year. What are you doing to start your seeds? What is the soil makeup that you are using? Now, typically I was buying a bag, okay? And I was doing that because I really didn't know and understand what was needed in a soil mix in order to make it. So there's just nothing wrong with that. Just, buying a bag and just doing it that way until you really can figure out. But I really realized that I was spending so much money for a small bag that I was just like, listen, I need to probably figure out how to make my own soil mix, or at least get something that's somewhat of a bag that's not really fully made, like a traditional bag that you would get for potting mixes or soil mixes, but something that I can take and just kind of create my own thing with it. And so that's what I'm going to be showing you today. And I realized I just had to, because I was just making so many trays and it was just getting more expensive to do that. And it's just more cost effective for me to just more so buy it in bulk. This is even a smaller bag than normal. I usually have the huge 2-cubit size bag of the Promix. But anyways, we're going to get into all that. I just want to show you what I'm going to be doing today and what I'm going to be doing this season as I prepare my trays for the gardening and starting indoors. I'm going to be transparent with you. I am by no means an expert when it comes to soil making or, forming my own seed starting mix. I'm not. I'm just going to be transparent. So this is my second year with starting to dabble into this. And the reason why I got into this last year and this year is because I'm making so many seed trays in the beginning of the season and towards the fall. And so I just look at this. I'm already starting. I just want to make sure that I could have the most cost effective way. I wanted to make sure that I know what's going into my seed mix. I want to learn more about that. And I just think that as a gardener, the more we have an understanding of what's in what when we're working with these different materials and different things, I just think that it's better. But that's not always possible for everyone. Some people just want to buy the bags, and I was doing that, and I have no problem with it, buying the bags. But for me, it was more cost effective to more so buy in bulk and start creating it myself. Now, there's pretty much what I've learned is that there's two different ways of doing it. You can either go soilless or use soil. Me personally, I'm not bringing soil into my house. I don't want to deal with the fungus gnats that may come out of it and whatever microorganisms could be in there, because there is compost inside soil and in those soil bags, and I'm not bringing that into my home. I don't want to. However, some people do sterilize it, and you can sterilize it. I've sterilized my starting mixes before. The ones that I was purchasing from the store, sterilize it with hot water, boiled hot water, poured it in there, let it cool down, and then used it. And that really did help to reduce some of the fungus gnats, but I just did not like it. I was like, why am I getting all these fungus gnats? And then just learning a little bit more, the compost and the soil's coming from outside, and however it's being mixed by the different companies. And so my thing is I'm going to go for a more soilless type mix. Now, am I completely 100% free from getting a fungus gnat? No. Why is that? Well, because if I overwater or if anything like that happens, moisture builds up. It's just quite amazing what could breed in anything that you pretty much have where there's a lot of moisture and a lot of humidity and water that's just soaking in there. So you really have to pay attention to when you're growing your seedlings inside. You really want to pay attention to the moisture and how much is in there, because you can start forming molds and different other things like that. But that's for another video. So what we're focused on is just making a mix, and I'm going to have a soilless mix. I picked out Promix. I started using Promix a lot last year and using it out in my garden when I was just filling up pots, and I was getting it by the bulk, just trying to save on money and, you know, just different ways. So this Promix, what I've noticed on the market, I noticed that there's a bag that doesn't have a lot of the nutrients in it. It's just pretty much the peat moss, and that's pretty much where this is derived. It's a peat moss mix, and this Promix has some nutrients already in it. It's going to feed my plant for up to 3 months. And this is a smaller bag, but there are bigger bags on the market. And I'm just reading behind here because I really want you to know what's in here. The ingredients are sphagnum, peat moss, peat humus, perlite, kelp meal, limestone, mycorrhizae. Okay, so there is still, and because I know I've used this, there's still a little bit of organic chunks in there, like little woody parts in there, and that will probably kind of decompose and stuff. So there is some in there. It's best if you can sift it out because you really just want a fluffy seed starting mix, nothing that has like big, large chunks or anything like that. But anyways, I don't do a whole bunch of sifting. I need to create my own, build my own sifter. I don't have one yet, but this is pretty good, and it's easy enough to just pick out any large chunks. I also have some worm castings in here that I'm going to add in here, just a part of worm casting. And the worm casting is an organic fertilizer. This has kelp meal in it, so I'm not going to put a bunch of kelp meal in there, but I do have it here. I'm probably just going to put a pinch of it, just a little bit in here, because I'm really just not sure how much nutrients and kelp is really in here. It gives a, you know, just a little bit of percentages, but I'm just going to add a little bit of my own into it. And then I also have Vermiculite, and Vermiculite is a lightweight soil conditioner to improve soil aeration and moisture retention. And Perlite for soil porosity and aeration. It helps prevent soil compaction, and it increases water retention as well. So I'm going to put a lot more perlite in here, even though there's perlite in here. I just want to make sure that there is enough aeration. I'm not going to put too much of it because there's already some in here, but I do want to make sure that there is retention of water with the vermiculite, and then I'm adding in just a little bit of extra fertilizer into it. And that should be good. If I notice that there is anything lacking, I could, you know, it's probably time for me to up the plants, which means taking it from the smaller tray that it's in, moving it up, giving it some more space. Maybe it needs some more nutrients, or maybe it may just be time to put it in the garden because it's pretty much outgrown the space. So what I'm going to need to do is I'm just going to be doing a small sample of this. So it's not going to be a whole large bucket that I'm filling up or anything like that. So this is what I have some of the mix already in, and it's dry, so it's not moist in there because I don't want mold or anything like that to grow. But I'm just gonna do it in a little pan here. And I'm just gonna be using, just right now, because I'm just doing a small sample just for the video, but this is a 1 gallon container. Basically, I'm just gonna fill this up with 1 gallon of the Promix. It's gonna go into here, then I'm gonna dump it in there. And then everything else besides pretty much the kelp will be 1 part. So I have 1 gallon here, and then so the worm casting is gonna be 1 part. So that will be 1 quart of the worm casting, 1 quart of vermiculite, and then 1 quart of the perlite. And I'm just going to assess and make sure that there is still a balance with the perlite because there's already perlite in here. So I need to take a look at it. So it may even be a little bit less of that. And then just maybe like a half a tablespoon or even less of the kelp, maybe even a little less than that. So that's pretty much all that I'm going to be doing. So let me get started, cut this bag open. I'm going to move some of these things out of the way so I can start working around here. Let me put this down. I'm just breaking it up on the ground, okay? Because it was sitting in, wherever it was in the garden center, just sitting flat. So I'm just dropping, I have cement on the floor. I'm not busting my floor. Okay. I just needed to kind of loosen that up a little bit. Listen, let me tell you something. I'm short, okay? And I'm trying to do a good demonstration for you. I'm just too short. I have to bring this and put this on the floor. I'm sorry. But I'm too short. I'm like, yeah, let me do a good demonstration for them. Let me put this high up. I am short. I put this on the floor, okay? Give me a second. And I can't really see what I'm doing when I'm doing that. I'm doing that right here. Short people. That's me. All right, so here we go. I think I'm gonna need a bigger, possibly a bigger container for this. Just realized I just needed a little bit more space. There we go. See the big chunks I was referring to? Yeah, take that out. All right, so I'm gonna put 1 part of this worm casting in here. And something to kind of scoop it out. Should just take a few scoops. Not yet, so I need to fill up to 1 quart. So basically, the way that the measurement works is, so whatever it is that you're doing, you just want to put 1 part of it, okay? So 1 part of a gallon, this is a gallon, so 1 part would be 1 section of it. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4. So it's just 1 part. Yeah, 1 quart. And you want to do those measurements pretty much for everything. So I dumped it in here. The next thing will be, let me move this out of the way. Here's one thing. I want to be mindful when you're dealing with vermiculite and perlite. So just hint right now, I'm not very tall. And so pouring it this high, I don't want to inhale any of the particles that are floating around. So I'm going to take it down lower and then just bring it and show it to you. Some people wear masks. You really don't want to inhale it. And if you're doing this outside, don't do it on a windy day. All right, so here's the perlite. Y'all, I was not trying to inhale that. That's not good, not good. I just saw it floating around. I was like, no, nope, not me. Not doing that. You can see it in here. Just gonna mix it in well. And I didn't even pour it all in there. I'm thinking that this might be all the perlite that I may need. This might be good. There's another little piece of little wood pieces. So there is some little pieces of wood. It's in there. There you go. I'm going to pour this back in here. There's some extras. Here's the 1 part perlite. And then the kelp. I don't think I read this to you all, but the kelp has, the organic kelp meal is an excellent source of micronutrients and beneficial plant growth promoters. Contains over 60 naturally chelated minerals and essential elements that the fast-growing sea plant absorbs from the cold, nutrient-rich waters of the North Atlantic. There you go. So I'm just going to just put maybe just that much, not even half in there. Normally I would put, for a gallon, you would put a tablespoon. And I'm just gonna go ahead and mix this in all together. So take a look at this and you can see all the ingredients compared to how it looked before. This looks completely different. It feels very fluffy. Now, when you add this to your trays, of course, you're going to add in a lot of moisture and water and all that in there. Because I'm just going to be storing this, and I need to mix this still well, but because I'm going to be storing this, I am not putting water in it. I want it to stay dry because just water sitting in a container will cause it to grow mold. And so I'm just going to leave it dry like this and just continue mixing it until it's all done. Let me show you the difference. Here's an example of the Promix before I added everything else to it. So can you see the difference? My mix and just the Promix alone. This feels so good. It's so nice. I do hope this video was helpful. I hope that it was relaxing to watch it because it was relaxing for me to make it. My little bloopers, me being so short that I had to move it and put it on the floor and pour it out. That's funny to me. But anyways, I got it done and I hope this was helpful and that you can now make your own seed starting mix because it is time to get your seedling started. All right now, I will see you all soon. Remember to grow leafy and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.